It's recording.
Oh boy.
You're gonna do it right there. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
First time, got it figured out.
Yeah. Hey everyone, this is Elijah, and
Seth.
we are missing our third member, Brody. He is currently out doing some ice fishing, hopefully catching some nice fish. We are filming this for our Shop Talk series. We're a little slower, obviously, in the winter with having washing be our main business. We do some snow removal. So we thought we'd still find a way to provide you some value, and so we thought we'd talk about some of the equipment, processes, procedures, and stuff that we use while we're out there during our busy washing season. So today we're going to be talking about kind of the big change that happened in the industry a few years back. It used to always be all high pressure, blast away at whatever surface you may be trying to clean to remove any contaminant there, and has slowly and thankfully switched over to more of a low pressure soft washing technique, though we do still use some pressure in certain situations. So we want to talk to you a little bit about how we are able to achieve our soft wash process, our low pressure wash, the different tools that we use for that, and then also some things to know for some of the homeowner models that you may have at home and what to look out for. So I guess first we'll start with the general tips that you do see on your homeowner units that you get. You'll usually have a yellow, a green, a white, sometimes a black, and then a red tip as well. How often should they use the red tip, Seth?
Never. You should throw it away.
Absolutely.
As soon as you get the unit.
It's actually a little concerning that we have one of these in the shop, and I'm glad we do for the video today, but we typically, whenever we get a pressure washer, we take the red tip and just throw it out. The red tip is basically a 0 degree fan, so the different colors denote the different fans that you have, all the way from 15 up to 40 degrees, and then the red is 0 degree. So anytime we go to a homeowner's house and we see a lot of damage done, it's typically this guy that's the culprit. It's putting out maximum pressure and at a very pinpoint location on whatever surface you're cleaning. So you'll oftentimes see a lot of squiggly marks. Looks like someone's trying to use write cursive all over, their patio, their deck, their siding, whatever. That's generally because of this guy. So always when you buy a pressure washer, just throw this out. There's really going to be no need that you're going to come across that's going to need it. If you are lucky and you do have a black tip that comes with your pressure washer, this can be used to draw soap, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about with these. So Seth, what is this bad boy right here?
This is a downstream injector. So you put it on your pressure washer in between the pressure hose and the actual pressure washer. And usually there's a hose that connects to it. You can drop it in soap, water, any chemical you're going to use, and it'll feed it through this little blue port right here, and it will come out kind of diluted. Usually it's a 10% ratio, roughly. So this helps. You can just switch from soap to water without having to shut it down.
Yeah, it's been huge for us. So if you can imagine, let's say the pressure washer's over here. This side would hook up to the pressure washer. Obviously, it's flowing out this way. And then like Seth mentioned, we usually have a hose that's hooked up to our soap tank, and then we can switch between soap and water. So you just drop that hose in the soap tank. As water comes through here, it's going to create suction and pull whatever that drop stick's in. And then we're able to apply that soap to the home, the driveway, patio, deck, whatever it may be. And then when it's time for us to go to rinse mode, we can just switch over, drop that drop stick into a water bucket, and away we go. So this is kind of the way that we're able to draw soap. We do have the manual way where we just take a drop stick and literally drop it in our soap and drop it in a water bucket. We also do have, which you'll see in a later video, an electric downstream injector. So we're able just to press a button and it switches us from drawing soap to drawing water, which is a lot more efficient and not having to walk all the way back from the back of a home to the trailer. So that's how we're able to draw soap. If you are using too much pressure, if you're using one of the higher pressure nozzles here, you won't be able to draw soap if you need to use a lower pressure, which I don't know if you can see it or not. I can try to get up to the camera too a little bit. The difference between the size of the orifice of these two. So this is your soap one. It's much larger, so the pressure is going to be a lot lower. So that's how we actually are able to control the pressure that we use on a home, is basically with the different size of the tips that we use. So this is one of the things that we connect to our wands when we're washing, and I'll let Seth kind of run through what all the different tips and everything are on here.
So this is what we call a J-rod. I'm assuming all of them are called J-rods, no matter what tips.
Pretty much. I
Yeah.
think that's like the original brand that came out with it. So yeah.
So you can put whatever tips you want on here. There's 4 of them. We have a low pressure one that we usually use for washing houses. We have a medium pressure one, which usually used for like composite, concrete, depending on how dirty it is. We have a second story tip, which is more of a stream tip. That'll help us get obviously up higher on the homes without having to use pressure and get on a ladder. Then we have sniper shooter tip. We haven't figured out the proper name for it yet, but it's a little bit stronger of a stream tip. If we get like a 3rd story home or even just a taller building in general, it helps us get that extra little reach. Or if we have to kill a wasp nest, these are great.
Perfect.
So
also in Nebraska it gets really windy, and
yeah.
you can have a 2-story home with a day where it's like 20-25 mile-an-hour winds out, and your normal 2nd story tip isn't going to reach. So we've got this guy that helps out in that scenario, which wind for us is our biggest nemesis, obviously, other than it being below freezing. But windy days, yeah, it's nice to have that little extra reach with that sniper tip, shooter tip, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so typically if we were to use these tips on our pressure washer that came with it, our pressure washers would output about 3,500 psi, which the only thing you need to know is you can do a lot of damage quick with that much pressure. Along with that pressure, we have high flow units, so they work at 8 gallons a minute versus your standard home buyer residential one that you buy from like Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards. Those are going to run about 1.5 to 2 gallons a minute. So we're able to put a lot of cleaning power. But the difference in tips, so we wash homes with 100 psi and under, versus if we were to use one of these, we'd be outputting 3,500. So if you're a homeowner and you are trying to tackle any cleaning on your own, be very careful of what you're using for your tips. Like we said, throw away the red one for sure. Don't even put that on the pressure washer. There's no need for it. If you only have these tips available, which you can buy some different tips that we would recommend, stay far back from the surface that you're cleaning. So you can kind of control the amount of pressure that's hitting the surface by how far away your wand or your tip is, or by the size of the tip that you have. So that's a little tip, and that's how we are kind of able to wash with low pressure, how we're able to reach some of those higher areas without needing ladders, which is fantastic for us. We hate being on ladders. A lot of bad things can happen quick on a ladder, especially if you're using a pressure washer. So that's a tip, and hopefully you guys got something from that, and we'll bring you some more videos here in the near future with our Shop Talk series. Thanks.
A lot of tips.
A lot of tips.
It's a little tip.
So many tips.
So many tips.